Simps. Everybody's talking about simps. Nowadays, you're either simping or you're talking about simps. And when you look up topics of simps or simping, a lot of the times it relates back to Pokimane. So today, we're not going to be talking about Pokimane. We're going to be talking about my friend Emily. So my friend Emily, I've mentioned her before in my prom video, but as just a quick recap, Emily is my friend and she has a bad habit of not being able to turn someone down or say no to someone without feeling bad about it. And as an added bonus, she seems to attract a lot of guys. Some of these guys are okay, but other times these guys are interesting enough to make videos about. So for the sake of the story, I'm going to call this guy Hunter. Why? Because honestly, a lot of times I can't remember his name, and when I talk about this guy with Emily, I tend to call him Hunter. So I'm just gonna call him Hunter. So here's the thing about Hunter. You ever heard of BDE? Well, Hunter's got BSE, big simp energy. Hunter fell in love with Emily at first sight. Like the moment he saw her, he believed that she was the one for him. As time went on, there were many red flags that led to Emily not being interested in him. You see, Hunter loved the show How I Met Your Mother, and he really looked up to the character Barney from the show. And because of that, he created a lot of plans for Emily to fall in love with him. So throughout the show, there was symbolism with the main character Ted with a yellow umbrella, which eventually led to him meeting the mother. So because of that, Hunter bought a yellow umbrella and he carried it everywhere around with him. Didn't matter what the weather was, what the event was. He could be at parties, he could be in class, he could be in the washroom. He would be carrying this umbrella everywhere with him. He even took pictures with it. So the whole plan was for people to know Hunter as the yellow umbrella guy, and if Emily sees the yellow umbrella, she would relate it back to Hunter. His plan was to eventually lose the umbrella, so Emily would find that umbrella and return it to him, so he would have this meet cute moment with her. Emily later found out about this plan, so every time Hunter tried to lose his umbrella, Emily would just ignore it and avoid it. Hunter had other plans where he would buy stuff and try to give it to Emily as gifts and whatnot, but Emily would just avoid those gifts. So the second strategy that Hunter had for trying to get closer to Emily was through her friends. But the way he went about it was kind of unnatural. Instead of him naturally over time building these relationships, building these bonds with Emily's friends, he instead just went in and inserted himself into all of Emily's friend circles. I remember Emily and her friends telling me about this time they were just studying at the library, and Hunter just showed up and sat next to Emily and just started studying without saying anything the entire time. Later, Emily had to go to class and she left, and Hunter just stayed behind and just kept studying with Emily's friends at that table. An hour or so later, he just looked up from his book and he turned to Emily's friend and he said, "I feel closer to you already." Who are you? So there was a time when Emily was at a party or something, and there were a lot of group photos uploaded online with Emily with a bunch of other people at this party. And around this time, Hunter was trying to be playfully flirty with Emily. So one of the ways he was trying to be playfully flirty was he took one of these group photos and he photoshopped himself into that photo. And he uploaded it publicly onto social media for everyone to see with the caption "Oh haha, I couldn't be in the photo, but look, now I am." The post was obviously later taken down because I think one of his boys DM'd him and told him to abort mission because a lot of other girls were getting really creeped out by it. So Hunter was honestly a smart guy. He had a lot of accomplishments and he kind of wanted to impress Emily by flexing these accomplishments on her. Hunter went above and beyond. He went ahead and made a PowerPoint presentation to flex his accomplishments. So there was a semester where Hunter had an internship, and usually for students that have an internship, they'll just take that semester off and they won't be on campus, they won't be at school, they'll be living near where they have that internship because it's a really long drive. But here's the thing, Hunter believed that if he wasn't on campus and he wasn't in Emily's presence, she'd just forget about him and she might just go ahead and find some other guy. So for Hunter to fix this problem, he would occasionally go out of his way to drive all the way to school to be on campus so that he would be in Emily's presence so that she wouldn't forget about him. And I've been told by Emily and her friends that it's quite a long drive for him. It's an hour drive, maybe 70 kilometers. So I don't know, man, that's a lot of gas money. So now you may be wondering, where do I come into this story? Because I'm the one here in this video telling this story. Well, one day our friend group got together and we had a little intervention for Emily because Hunter's antics were kind of getting a bit out of hand. It was getting a bit uncomfortable for a lot of people. So the group gave Emily an ultimatum. She had 2 weeks to break it to him that she's not interested, otherwise the group would come up with a different plan to deal with Hunter. As you would expect, since I'm making this video, Emily didn't end up doing it. So the group eventually came up with a plan to fully cut off Hunter, because in the past, our friend group has kind of tried to help Emily with telling other guys that like she's not interested in them, but it just ends up with the guys going, okay, she's not interested now, but maybe in the future. And then the guys just keep trying to pursue Emily. So the plan was to tell Hunter that Emily has a boyfriend. But the thing was, Hunter pretty much knew every dude that was within Emily's friend circle, that was within vicinity of Emily. And he did this really sketchy thing. He played the bro code card, and he told any guy that's near Emily that he was trying to pursue Emily. So, you know, hands off, lay off. He basically just like guard dogged her and tried to spook every guy off from pursuing Emily. But here's the thing. He knew everyone within Emily's vicinity that went to school with her. I didn't go to the same school as Emily and all her other friends. I chose to go to art school. So to Hunter, I was a complete wild card. So the group came to a consensus for me to play the part of being Emily's fake boyfriend, because if Hunter creeped me on social media and looked me up, to him, I would just be some mysterious hipster artist guy that went to art school. And the group, we later ended up calling this Operation Hipster Heartbreaker. One day, Emily's friend Sarah was chilling on campus when Hunter out of the blue DMs her, and he insists on them hanging out. Like, he keeps insisting, he keeps saying like, oh, we should hang out, even though Sarah's trying to politely turn him down and say like, no, I'm just trying to study. He keeps trying to insist that like, we should hang out. So keep in mind, around this time, Hunter has this internship, so he has to drive an hour out to be on campus to hang out with anyone. His excuse was that his boys wanted to go to the gym with him, and they all of a sudden just so happened all of them flopped on him. So Sarah ended up DMing all of us in a group chat and letting us know that she's gonna enact Operation Hipster Heartbreaker. So Sarah agreed to hang out with Hunter, and they ended up just chilling somewhere on campus. Later, he eventually just went over to the washroom, and then Sarah immediately DM'd us and said, okay, when Hunter comes back from the washroom, I'm going to tell him about Emily's relationship with Kelvin. But she messed up and she accidentally DM'd Hunter instead. Hunter ended up bursting out of the washroom, and he goes, tell me this isn't real. I mean, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. It was a complete accident. I texted you by accident. But yes, Emily's got a boyfriend. After everything happened, Hunter kind of went through a sad boy phase. He started posting photos on social media with like interesting captions like, as I look towards the sunset, I dream that things could have been different, but I hope that you are okay. The ocean waves crash, and I know that life crashes on me as well. I hate that timing didn't let things work, and I wish things could have been different. As I look to the future, I hope that things go well. And after everything happened, when I went to school, I remember having Hunter's photo ready to give to like the security guards, because I was like, this guy's such a creep with Emily. What if he like creeps me on social media and he shows up to my school? So I had his photo ready to show to like the security guards. Okay, so this is kind of a long story. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like a jealous ex situation, but not really an ex. Just keep an eye out for this guy. Okay. And I remember telling like my entire class about this afterwards. I remember one of my classmates didn't want him to simp on her at all, that she looked him up on like all social media platforms and then blocked him on everything. You know the odds of you meeting him are like really low, right? Yeah, and now the odds are even lower. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess you can treat this video as like an educational video, what not to do when you're trying to pursue literally anyone. Here's the thing, I don't have anything wrong with like people simping if it means like you're just gonna be respectful and whatnot, because you know, if that's all that is, like keep it up, keep simping. But like there's like a line to simping, and once you cross that line into like the creepy realm, no. Yeah, that's it for today's video. Send this video to anyone you think needs to see this video. Don't forget to hit that sub button if you like the stuff that I make, and yeah, bye bye.